We
Yeah,
got
there
you
he is.
now.
Hey, Neil.
Great. I'm
Hi.
going to let
Hello,
you guys
guys.
chat, and I'm going to get out of the way here. Glad you're here,
Got it.
Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. And hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing great, Neil. How are you doing?
Great. I've just got through the unmuting and all that stuff of my first Zoom of the day. Yeah, it's a big deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Nowadays.
I think everyone's probably masters at Zoom to some degree,
Oh,
but
yeah.
at the same time, hey, this is a great way to communicate. It's a great way for us to meet and talk with you. Thanks for being a part of this event, this Radiothon event we try to do on Giving Tuesday, kind of bringing more awareness, funneling the money, making sure that we get the right people to on camera here. And you're one of those people that have pushed and put so much effort going into this. We had Mark Stone on right before you came on, and he said that you're the most impactful individual in the world in this FSHD fight. Does you think what do you think about that when you hear that?
No, that's not true. Of course, Mark is not shy of exaggeration as you know. So, but I have mixed up on a lot of things. A lot of those threads come back to the FSHD Society, but I have FSHD. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Neil, and I have FSHD. I say that a lot in meetings and so on, and so I have it, and I'm probably part of the biggest family having FSHD in Canada. We're have lots of cousins and uncles and aunts, and half of them have the FSHD movements and so on. And about 10 years ago, we went to dragged a bunch of my family down to Vegas, Las Vegas. So we went to an FSHD Society patient meeting, and it just took off from there. I was inspired to set up my own little foundation up here in Canada, FSHD Canada, and so that was the first step. And then we've been working with FSHD Society on jointly funding research projects. But in the last few years, I've hooked up with another partner up here, Mr. Wilson, Chip Wilson, who also has FSHD, and together we started Solve FSHD, which is really focusing on accelerating finding a cure. So that's in play, and that's pretty interesting, Tim. And then the third thing is that back to FSH Society, now looking globally, kind of a world domination thing, I guess. But we need to get the rest of the globe plugged in. We just need more people. We need more people lined up for the clinical trials and make sure everything's ready. Trial readiness is a big thing. We probably need 10,000 people to be in the registries in order to keep all these. The good news is that the trials are coming, the clinical trials are coming, the therapies are coming down the pipeline. That's 5 years ago. We couldn't have said that. Mm-hmm. So it's a good problem to have. Now we have to make sure that the people are there to participate in the clinical trials, Tim.
Yeah, and that's really the big push. So talk about that. The CTRN. There was a blog post about it on FSHD Society. $2.8 million dollars that way. Tell us your take in that, also your participation and kind of helping push that.
Well, I've got a lot of time for the founders, Jeff Stadlin, Robbie Towell. They're good guys, good guys.
Oh yeah.
And they came to us. They had a hole in their funding. They $2.8 million. So they came to us asking us to help, if we could help, and we did. But the point of this is that it's they're all about setting up the clinical trials, right? And it's clinical trial sites. And they promised me 3 sites in Canada as well. We wanted to get some sites up here, and that's come along with the bargain, and that's underway right now, Tim. So it's all good. We're happy to help them out.
Yeah, I'm in Wisconsin, so I'm not far from Canada. I'd like to think so. Okay. So it's nice to have the northern, brothers up there and sisters that have FSHD and joining forces. We've had some great walk and roll events in the Canada area over the last I think this was the second year that's happened, and it keeps expanding.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it just keeps growing. And
well, absolutely. I mean, the game we work at jointly with FSHD Society up here in Canada to organize those kind of events. That's been great. We managed to first of all stir up a lot of patients, get them interested, get them aware of the clinical trials that are coming in their area. And it's also been good for funding, for donations. So it's all good, Tim.
Yeah, it's all good.
We're gonna broaden that out. I'm here in Calgary. My own daughters are going to get involved in that as well, Tim. Yeah.
So what do you see then coming into the next year? You know, when Giving Tuesday comes, we know we're in the last quarter. We're turning the calendar soon. What are the goals, hopes in your area for 2023?
Well, I tell you, I mean, I'm a hopeful guy. I'm always optimistic. So I see in the next year, in the year 2023, by the time we get to the end of it, we will have, hopefully, we will be through the clinical trials with Fulcrum. They're the pioneers. They're leading the way on their second go. I hope that works out. But there'll be more into clinical trial. There's several more drugs into the clinical trials, and I hope those go well. I hope we could provide enough people to keep, the pharma companies that are sponsoring the clinical trials, that we can supply enough people to participate in the clinical trials. So I'm hopeful that'll be the case, and I think the work we're doing jointly with the FSHD Society up here will help that, and globally as well. I see Solve FSHD. I'm on the board of Solve FSHD. We'll be making some more bets next year. We've made we've got $100 million budget, and we've been very judicious about placing those bets. We'll be making more bets next year on some very promising therapies that'll be announced, I think, here shortly and into the new year. So again, more shots on goal.
Yeah.
But we really need the toolkit. We need the diagnostics. We need the clinical trial readiness. Because it's one thing to get the goal to the front of the net. We got to get it in there, and we need to get through those clinical trials, and that's a big deal. I'm just kind of waking up to that myself, Tim, and I'm all in to make that happen. Yeah.
It does feel like that is going to be a big hurdle coming up. It's almost forecasted a little bit, the patient participation, getting people lined up so that they're participating in these things. Do you find that might be continually difficult, or are we going to turn a corner?
I think it'll. I don't think a year from now we'll be sitting back saying we got that under control. I think it's going to be a challenge for the next couple of years. I mean, this is not something you can fix in a year. Yeah. It's going to be a 2 to 3 year process, and but I'm hopeful by the time we get to the end of next year, all of the plan will be laid out. We'll have everybody aligned, because that's a big deal. I mean, FSHD people live in different countries. They have different languages. They have different organizations. Mm-hmm. We have to get all of that aligned, get everybody collaborating. So I'm hopeful by the end of next year, that's a well-oiled machine, Tim. If it's a well-oiled machine, then we can execute the hell out of it and have it all in play, by 2025, say, Tim. That'd be my expectation.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. And that seems to kind of correlate with what Mark Stone has been saying for a number of years, kind of putting it out there. This is where we want to be by 2025. It sounds like you're echoing those.
Well, I'm singing from his hymn book. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, I've also got the maple leaf on my tattoo on me here somewhere, and so I'm watching out for Canada. I really don't want Canadians to fall behind. I mean, God help us up here. Good news, we get a therapy announced by the FDA and down in the United States. And then all of my FSHD friends up here run down to the local drugstore to find out it isn't available, or it costs $300,000. So I really want to make sure that Canada stays even and doesn't fall behind. And we're working with the FSH Society on that as well, Tim, to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, if you go on solvefshd.com, you guys talk about your plan, removing the barriers, accelerate development for the therapies against FSHD. We talked about one barrier, being the patient involvement. Is there others that we should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow disease. It took me, Tim, 69 years to get this bad, and I can still walk around and move my arms. Having a little more trouble lifting a glass of wine, but that's the biggest problem I have in life. I'm not too worried about it, but we need to, it's a pretty slow disease. So if you're in a clinical trial, you want to fail fast or succeed fast. You don't want to. It's very expensive, and we're a slow motion disease, hard to measure if you're taking a pill whether you're getting better or not. And we need to speed that up. We need a better biomarker. So how you measure from 1 month to the next, called a biomarker, Tim. We need better biomarkers. So we're putting some big bets actually, on blood biomarkers. We have 3 research groups working on that right now. So if that's successful, and we'll find out by the end of next year, that should really speed up clinical trials. And if you speed up clinical trials, time is money, you reduce the cost, and that should encourage more pharma companies to make, to put their bets on developing an FSHD therapy.
Mhm. Is what's been the, I guess, response in Canada as you continue to grow in, solve FSHD as well as FSHD Society's footprint there? What's kind of been the patient response, the community response within that? You mentioned earlier, you raise your hand and say, I am Neil, I have FSHD. I'd like to say the same thing. Yeah, I'm Tim, I have FSHD. So, with those within that community, now that there's even a stronger voice, larger community, what's kind of been that response from them?
Well, when we made the announcement of Solve FSHD, that went in the newspapers, made some headlines that you don't normally get with FSHD. You don't see it on the front page of too many, but it made the front pages and up here for a day kind of thing. And so it was a big announcement, 100 million. People started, what the hell is FSHD? But out of the woodwork came a bunch of new people that realize, well, maybe I've got FSHD. People get it and they don't have it that badly or whatever. They don't know they have it. So that, number one, a lot of new people that with FSHD or thought they had FSHD came out of the woodwork, and we're in the process of getting them diagnosed now. There was also a big pop in donations. You think, well, somebody announces that they're going to put 100 million in, you wouldn't get any more donations. But we made it very clear that there's to take more than just 100 million to get over the hump here, and we need to also put money into developing the registries, that kind of thing, not just the therapies. We talked about that earlier, Tim. So donations have popped up here as well. We're getting a lot more money coming into my foundation through the donations. So, and the third thing is that people are just a hell of a lot more engaged. They want to know what's going on, and they're pinging me, emailing me. I talk to people all the time, keep them updated. The small groups of people in Vancouver, here in Calgary, and elsewhere in Canada that I stay close with, because they want to know. They want to know what's going on. They want to get involved in a clinical trial. They want to do that in the worst way, Tim. And I can't blame them. So it's been a good thing. Just in the Solve FSHD has really charged us up here in Canada. We're happy to be a big part of the solution.
Yeah. And a big representation of it. You mentioned how much it's within your family. You said was it the largest? You're the largest?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but it's cool.
It's because of my mother. My mother had it and has it. She still has it. She's still alive. She has it. And she worked very hard at rounding up all my cousins and all my family and dragging them into the clinic and getting them diagnosed. And so, she was quite a strong and is still quite a strong-willed person. Yeah. So she made it happen. I mean, maybe there's bigger families, but nobody knows what, she managed to make sure everybody that had a limp or couldn't raise their hands very high or slept with their eyes open was frog marched into the clinic to get diagnosed.
Good for her.
As a result, we got a lot of names in the registry. Tim.
That's good. That's good. Well, you need that kind of, person to kind of fuel the fire there, kind of get things going. And, okay, I think my mother would be similar. I think she would be similar. There's no excuses. Come on, you're going to go do this. You gather them up, as you say.
Well, she didn't. Yeah, she wasn't whining and moaning about it and crying in her
action.
She was actually, heck with this. I'm going to go and fix this problem. And what she could do is get people engaged in it. Same with me. Similarities. Let's fix this. I'm an engineer. Like to fix things, Tim. So let's fix this. In fact, I thought 10 years ago I could fix it right away, but it's not clear. It's clearly not my bailiwick to be fixing bio things, but I'll do my best.
Right, but you did your part. Or you're doing your part.
Yeah, exactly.
Saying, hey, I'm good at this. I want to attack this problem. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Neil. It just sounds like that to me.
That's true. In this case, yeah.
So you mentioned also shots on goal, Canada. Who's winning the cup this year?
Well, I think it's going to be Calgary,
Oh, really?
They're
doing it, eh?
I hope it's going to be Calgary. But I don't know. They're a little bit off and on. But I live here in Calgary, so I support Calgary. So I go to the games, watch them.
Nice.
And so far they're not having too bad a year. We lost a few star players, Tim.
Yes.
So we may they may set us back a season, but I'm all in for the Flames, Tim.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. I didn't want to like bring up the Oilers. You know, they got kind of a hot player up there, and you know,
Oh no,
I didn't want to. I don't
they
want to
do.
stir it up. Yeah, yeah.
That guy's really good.
He is.
Yeah,
He is. McDavid. Yeah, he's pretty
he is.
phenomenal.
Heck,
Yeah.
yeah, very good.
Yeah,
And
let's
you guys
always-
are pretty. You guys are. No. Sorry, you're not Minnesota, right? You're
No,
Wisconsin.
we're
No,
Wisconsin.
okay, no.
Can you imagine, Neil, that Wisconsin does not have an NHL franchise? So you're a
Yeah.
guy that fixes problems, Neil. I need you to fix it.
Well, you probably you have a good start. You likely have a lot of ice up there by now.
Yes.
You will soon have, right?
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Neil, for your time today, joining us, having a little fun too, talking a little
Okay.
hockey. I knew I
Yeah, absolutely.
threw you a pass on that one. I'm glad that you shot that one on goal well. So,
Okay.
yeah, you take care. Continue that awesome work that you're doing. Those that want to find out more about you, they go to solvefshd.com. Is there any other places that you'd like them to visit, help donate, help your cause in Canada?
Sure. Well, FSHD.ca. FSHD.ca is the it's the Canadian equivalent of the FSHD Society, only
Excellent.
much smaller. Yeah.
So, hey, that's small doesn't matter. It's how powerful you are to me. You know how much power can you pack in that punch? And it sounds like you guys are definitely building it up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We punch our weight, Tim. Yeah.
That's right. Well, it's the hockey mentality. You know, it's fine. It's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
mentality.
We're good. We're good in the corners.
Yes, absolutely. You have to be. You have to be. Oh man,
You have to be, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to connect with you. We'll have to talk hockey off air sometime.
There you go. Absolutely. Good luck in Wisconsin. Yeah.
Thank you. You take care, Neil.
Yep. Cheers. Take care. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye now.
Bye. So that is Neil helping us out on Giving Tuesday telethon. Sorry, Lee, I just had to. You know,
That's all right. It's good. Hey, if you don't start talking sports at some point during the day, it's not a show with Tim. So
I know. You know,
it's all good.
I changed
It's
my
all
little
good.
studio. I even took down the Rangers, thing I had in the background for a while there. I kind of mixed things up, and I didn't want to have one allegiance. This way, I knew I could get a little bit.
All right, awesome. Neil is a great guy. I'm so thrilled with the growing. We've been friends. The FSHD Society US and FSHD Canada have been been friends for a long time, but we've got such a strong partnership that's starting to grow now. And he is just an awesome guy to be in partnership with. We're working together to launch some chapters up in Canada. Beth Johnston, our who does all our community engagement, is working with some folks up there just to get more education and resources to folks in Canada, as well as get this research funded. And as Neil said, that all important access. I mean, that's the thing. Yes. That's a lot of the work of our World Alliance. We just realized, not too long ago, we started having that conversation of saying, hey, we're getting closer. What happens when other countries don't have access? We don't want patients to hear of a drug or a therapy that could slow progression or stop FSHD in its tracks and then not be able to get it. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
It's horrific.
It's devastating.
It would be devastating. And so that's a lot of our conversations with our World Alliance members, and Neil among them. He's one that was like, whoa, I hadn't really thought about that. So, we've got some really important work that we're starting to do with Neil and with World Alliance members to start that process now. We don't want to wait until therapies are approved. Let's start to clear the regulatory pathway now, because it's different in every single country.